So that's always exciting. Yeah, I'm not sure, and I'll deal with your line issue. We're going to go to the site plan right now. Okay, now for most of you, I had you delete your topo surface. If you haven't, then kudos. What we're going to do today is put it back on, which is good. We kind of use that as a fix for some issues during COVID season, which is a lot of issues. We're going to also put some trees in here, and we're going to do some rendering. Okay, so there's going to be a little pause about the middle of this if you did not do your one and only thing you had to do between now and Christmas break. I told you you needed to have an Autodesk account for today. Oh, that's okay. We'll take time and we'll make it today. It's just the one and only thing, but that's okay. It takes just a minute. It's not a big deal. Okay. And you can actually get around it. But there's someone I want to show you today that you might want to do mainly so you can show your parents your 3D model. A lot of you don't have the software at home. And so you can't really say, oh, look at what I can do. They say, that's great. It looks like a bunch of lines, blue. But what I want to do is give you a way to show them what you have done. And it makes it a little bit so they feel like you've at least learned something during the year of COVID, which is saying a lot. Cool. All right, so here I've got the site plan opened up. As you can see, I can see the roof, and I've got a few of my roof trusses that are sticking through the roof. I haven't quite cleaned my act up. This is one of about 4,000 plans that are 3/4 the way done. Story of a teacher. So the first thing I'm going to do in here is I'm going to hide in my view the entire category of roof. I'm just going to get the roof out of there for right now because it's in the road. So I'm going to site plan, select a roof, hide in view, click the category, no roof. Bye-bye roof. And then the same thing with my framing, just because it's busy and I want to have it a little bit cleaner. So just to clean that out. The rest of this stuff it's there. I'm just going to leave it. I just need to be able to see the exterior walls. Really important that you can see your exterior walls. If you need to hide more items, feel free to do so. But just so you can see those exterior walls. Really, really important as we get this set up. So I'll give you just a second to do that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add a sidewalk to our house. Kind of important we have a sidewalk. We're going to put a planting strip around our property. That's the area that you have to mow that you don't own. It's kind of a real, thanks government, but that's how it works. And if you haven't put your driveways on, you might want to do some adjustments there, okay? So I've got my site plan here. Again, mine, I had a bigger house, so I had to do some modifying. What I've also done is I've gotten rid of my my setbacks I've hidden. So I have my easement on as I see. That's fine. I just need to be able to see the exterior property line. Now, when we put on this topo surface again, we're going to put it on in a minute. We're going to do a lot of weird stuff here. Not that weird. But I need to be able to create some elements that I can use. So right now, my property line is one solid thing. It's all one element. If I break it apart, then it ceases to be the property line. It doesn't show in the right plans. So if I offset that line, I've got a lot of making more work for myself, and I don't want more work for myself. So I'm going to go into my architectural tab, and then go to model line. I'm going to change it back to I need my green line again. I can't remember which one it was. I got to remember which one it was. Oh, just lines. Change it to just lines. Sorry, I had a little fog there. So change your line type to lines. That'll be the green one where you don't have to delete. Will make your life so much easier right now. Okay, so architecture, model line, and the line type is just lines. Okay. Now remember, the green is set to not ever print, so you don't have to delete them. But what we need to do is create a tracing of our property line. And we have to exaggerate this just a little bit. So I'm going to work more in this bottom left corner because that's where the sides are. We're down a corner lot for most of you, so it makes it a little more clear what's happening there. So there's a trace over that line, and it will fight you like there is no tomorrow on this. So if I start at this corner here, it wants to draw a straight line. Like it really, really, really wants to be a straight line. And I could try and force it to go another way, but it isn't a fight it, okay? So what I want you to do is go longer than the line. Just go straight and make it longer than what you need, okay? There's a purpose here that will make it all work, okay? Now do the same thing from the upper left corner and come down, but go longer than you need, and that's to be on the inside because it's going to draw straight lines. That's the purpose of these type of lines, is they're there to give you reference points, okay? So we do that. Now, this is the question that no one answered for 45 minutes, okay, you ready? What tool do you have that will make those all line up? Thank you. Was that so freaking hard of a question to answer? That was the one. 45 minutes. I just sat here. I'm going, I thought it failed. I mean, that's the one thing. So you use this all the time. And so sad. So align, and then just go down and align. Use your property line and make the line match it. So they're nice and connected. But you've got these tells that we're going to work with. Those will be really, really important. Okay. Super, super important. I felt like a validated person again. It was so bad. Okay, now we're going to do a little discussion here about what happens outside the property that we own. So when you buy a piece of property, there's an expectation that you will maintain part of the public right-of-way. And the part of the public right-of-way is anything between the street and your property. In some of your neighborhoods, at least out in West Valley, they can be very large swaths of grass, usually because they're meaning to widen the road at some point in the future. Until then, you get to maintain it or not. Those that choose not to maintain it will occasionally be fined if it's a slow day at the city courthouse and the local inspector has not much to do. We haven't had a slow day in Utah for the last 20 years. Building in Utah has been at a ramped up effort for about 20 years now. It doesn't look like it's going to slow down. So for you guys, what that means is housing is getting very, very expensive. We've talked about that. That is an option that those of you who are taking the architectural capstone, if you want to look at alternative ways of housing, and that could be anything from a tiny house to a different form of construction, you could use that for a capstone course and design a more affordable way to live. Okay, we don't have to build the same way we've been building for the last 300 years. Well, I guess 200. 300 years ago, we were logs. We've come a little bit further. Okay, so yes. You don't see your property line? It's not in your site plan? I don't have mine either. You don't have yours either? I don't have one either. Whoa, that's us. Okay, well, that's a going back in the future. Okay, let's create a property line. Let's review that real quick. It'll take a little bit longer today. So if you need a property line handout, they're here on the corner of our desk friend here. What we're using for you guys are mainly using lot 82. And so I'm going to do it just right over here. So we have that. What? He's up from his seat? I think that's the first time all semester.
I don't know if it's the first.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to make a property over here first. Okay, so wow, that was a lot more of you than I was anticipating. Okay, here we go. You then go into your mass and site option. And in there, you'll have, see, most of it is grayed out at this point on yours. You probably don't even have topo at this point then. You will have the one that says property line. So that's the one we want to start with. So go ahead and select property line, and it's going to come up with a choice. You can either draw it by hand, use this create by sketching, or you can actually use what comes from the civil engineer from the survey of the property. Now, if you remember, these surveys are the #1 source of lawsuits in the United States. Second is money in domestic situations, so divorces. Oh, that's kind of heavy. You good? You look like a little cat there cooling your head, huh? The head, bed head? That's okay. I've got a cow that can lick that right out of there. Her tongue is so freaking big. I can't wait to pick that up. Okay, so we're going to do it by entering the distance and the bearings. Okay, so we're going to click on that. We get a matrix grid that comes up. So we're going to look at lot 82. We're going to start on the property line that's on the far left. That's 100 feet in length. And we're going to look for the bearing for that. Now, the bearing for that line, you have to get that little stubby line that comes up above the whole plat of the map. So that's the south, 0 degrees, 12 minutes, 27 seconds west. So we're going to start filling this out. The first value then is going to be 100 feet. Just put in 100 and away you go. We will not be putting in inches at all. It'll all be in feet or tenths of a foot. So we have a little issue with site plans. Site plans are done to the 10th of a foot. The rest of your drawings are done to the 16th of a foot. They are not even close to the same scale. So you have to keep that in mind. One is we've got to put something that's much, much larger than the house onto the paper. So we switch the scales, okay? Now, the bearing, this one is going to be going south. So change the north to south. All bearings are either north or south. You always start north or start south. You can't start east and west. It's not possible. We've got a problem for that. Right now, the magnetic North Pole is over in Russia. It has moved. It's moving about 3 degrees a year right now. Trippy, which is okay. The poles flip about every 30,000 years. Just about to happen. That should wig your phones out.
Wait, so where does that go?
Well, the North Pole and the magnetic North Pole are not the same thing.
They were.
No. Well, you have not paid attention to any movie in the last 400 years,
That's true.
even though we don't have movies for 100 years. That's tricky. Okay. Now, in the bearing, where they put in, it's going south. So the first is the degree. That's going to be 0 degrees. Then the next is minutes. That's going to be 12. And then we put in the seconds, which is 27. So that would read 100 feet south, 0 degrees, 12 minutes, 27 seconds, and it's going to be going west. Okay, now if I was to show you quickly what that means, we'll do a little drawing for you because might as well teach to teach. If we have a pole and we have north at the top and south at the bottom, oh, I'm on, oh, wouldn't it be a Greek? No, what the freak am I drawing? There we go. South at the bottom. East is over here, west is over here, okay? That means that if I'm going south, 0 degrees west, that means my line starts south, actually to start at the origin point. It's going to go west of south. So my line is actually coming down right through here. I'm exaggerating a little bit. So it's not true up and down. It's a little bit to the side on the west of the main axis. Okay, if this was an east, I'd be over in this quadrant. Does that make sense? So it just kind of tells you the quadrant you're in. Is how these work. For those that don't understand how the pole works, we have this big blue ball. It's a globe. This is our planet Earth. The north and south poles go right through the center, whereas the magnetic shifts. So that's magnetic north, and it shifts and wobbles. Yeah.
So what if you added a degree to the thing?
Well, if we add a degree,
Yeah.
so make like 1 degree, 12 minutes. they just have a bigger swing. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So if this was like 15 degrees, I might be over here instead. Okay. Now, you guys remember the tsunami that Japan had from that earthquake that caused all the nuclear terror? The Earth shifted 3 degrees on that one day. It wobbled 3 degrees. So that's and that's here's your big law. That's the main reason that global warming is taking place. We're not the same angle we were 10 years ago. So keep that in your back of your mind, that earthquakes do shift the way we tilt. We need the one now to happen over on the other hemisphere, which is Europe, to shift it back the other way. We'll have to wait for that to happen. Okay. It would, yeah. So ice ages on our planet typically are every 10 to 15,000 years. And we are over that by about 1,000 years right now. So we should have had one about 1,000 years ago. Part of that was stemmed off a little bit by the industrial age, but that would mean a lot of coal and a lot of fires. Most of what has stemmed a lot of that off is about 800 years ago, most of North America was on fire. And that's just a natural thing that happens when no one lives here. The whole thing, but we see that in California now when people are living there, but we burn most of Western United States is burned. A lot of smoke in the air. So that kind of stemmed off a little bit, but yeah, we're due for an ice age and a magnetic flip. And so, yeah, just hang on. Hang on, it's gonna get fun. Okay, now we need to add the next line. So we're gonna do an insert. And we're then now go horizontally across the top of that property. The distance now is going to be 77.71. It is going to be also south. So there's south-south, it seems really weird. But our degree now is 89. And our minutes are 47. And our seconds are 33. Now, if you go into civil engineering, they can actually get down to nanoseconds now on their measurements. Part of that's military advancements. I mean, the military can fly a missile through a sewer line with the GPS stuff now. So we can get really accurate with it, which is helping, but that's also causing a lot of our lawsuits. We're finding that a lot of properties are not very accurate, and people are upset about that, rightfully so. This is also an east, so that line is set. So we got 2 over 4 lines done. Insert number 3. We'll then make this one easy. Cool. Copy the same distance from 1. And if you do the Control C, you can come down and do a Control V and paste that in. You're going to be going north, so that's a plus. The bearings are the same, so you can do a Control C and then do a Control V and paste that in. Woohoo! And this is going to be going east, so that's good. So you should have 2 souths and 2 east, 2 norths and 2 wests when this is all done in a 4-sided lot. When you get out there, there are properties that have 12 sides. They're nasty, they're ugly, they're hard to work with, and they're leftovers that no one wanted. So anything up on the bench, up on the mountainsides, you'll see that a lot up there. Okay, 4th line, we're going to copy the 2nd line. So same distance. So we can do a copy and a paste. It's going to be north. The bearings will be 89 degrees. So they copy that one, copy and paste, Control V. And that will be a west. So we make sure we got south, south, north, north, west, east, east, west. Life's good in the fast lane. We hit OK. There's your property. Nice. But now what you do is just move that over your house so it fits. Okay. So I'm going to put it right there because I don't want to mess mine up again. Now, if you look on that handout, you have another line on the inside of that that goes, yes.
If mine says property lines intersect, what do I do?
Then one of your angles or one of your legs are wrong.
Okay.
That's what yeah, if you typed it in wrong or left a mark over. Yeah, so they have to be exactly typed in that way. Okay, now we have this here. We then do an offset with that. What you have is that line that comes in. It should be labeled on there somewhere on that sheet as a 10-foot PUE. Maybe remember what PUE stands for? First word's public. Public utility easement. This is where your phone, your cable, your electric, your gas, that's where all that's buried. We try and keep it on the outside of our property because people dig holes in their yard for some reason. So what we can do is an offset. It's only 10 feet. And we then just take, now you find that you can't copy a property line. Okay, so that's back to where we are here to get this line in there. Okay, so the process I'm using here is the same way we got that before. We took our architecture model line, we traced over and did that, and then we did the one from the bottom and did that. Then we did the align. So same stuff here, line that up. Come down here, line that over. I need to do one along the bottom as well. Should have done that when I did it. Kind of weird going back 6 weeks. It's okay. And align this up. And once you have these green lines in here, then you can do your offset and they come in to the property. And then you can trace those. Now I'm going to go into insert, nope. My annotate detail line. And these will be, I'm just going to use a hidden line here. And they go from the intersection to the line, intersection, intersection, and line. And that's how those became. And then you do your line two again. Yes, sir.
My property line just.
Why? Are you on the site plan? It's disappearing line stuff. I don't know. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, no.
What?
Okay, never mind.
I got up on leg day. Ugh.
Was it south, north, north?
Yes. In there. Any of those lines? Since I'm here. That one's wrong. Oh, get rid of your furniture. Your business facilities. Your furniture's still here. Hide your bed. It's underneath your bed. Oh, oh no, it's not. Okay, what are you doing there?
Just want to make sure that.
Yep.
this the next one?
We're still in the middle of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you lose your site plan over? What you do is just put on your, so you're on your first floor, you just hide the elements inside. So it'll be fine.
Is that did it work? I just don't want to show.
Do you have flooring? So this is supposed to be, look at the ceiling. Is your floor, you have, let's try it again. So they're there. And they show the right line type. Just gonna try something here. They're underneath the floor. They're underneath something. There you go. Now you can see. You're probably up like an eighth of an inch too high. Something like that. Okay, so back to square one. So we have the lines. We trace over with the green line type, align it, then offset it. Then we have to go in and do the offsets again. Well, trace over the offsets. I offset this line 10 feet in, traced over it with a hidden line, and I now have to, I'm in the process of aligning that to align with the green lines, just so things are where they should be. So the green line's good, match that up, line it up. Scrub. Now, in my case, I've got a lot of lines here, I'm getting dizzy with them. I don't like to see green. It's kind of one of my things. I do delete my green lines out. You're welcome to leave them. They won't affect anything. But I've got to do the same thing over here. I have this line here, offset up 10, do it up here, offset down 10. But it's the same thing, okay? You need the lines for the outside, okay? So on our property, there's a road here, 1375 North. And there's a road here on the left, which is Quincy Avenue. Okay, this is downtown Salt Lake, by the way. You have to know where we're at. Quincy Avenue is pretty. Oh, I didn't know who it was. It looked like a bandit. Didn't recognize you. You were all in a hood. Okay, now we're going to work on the outside. Okay, so we've got a property, we've got our easement. On your site, those that have just not done it, you do need to have a dimension that goes from the property line to a corner of your house. So one like this, and another one would be the opposite direction. So I want to do that twice in there, because you do need to know where the house is from the corners of the property. I usually only do 2 corners, because the rest of it's dimension on the house. So I might come down to this point here and here. So I know how far over I am. And then from here, and again, you have to use corners so you can see where you're at, okay? Just so I know where to place the house. That's super, super important. Otherwise, they just dig this giant hole that you got to fill back up, okay? So you do have to place your house using those dimensions. Get that in there. But those 2 will get you there, and then the dimensions on your main floor will finish that off. Now, when we do property lines, because there are so many lawsuits around it, we do know that there's human error. And so the state gifts basically the frontage of your property, the part that's nearest street, they kind of gift that to you. If it's adjacent to another property like this side here would be, there's no allowance for error. You just have to work that out if that happens, or live with it. But here in the front, because things can be done wrong, And because the sidewalk is put in before your house is built, which is kind of weird. So if you're building a subdivision, the road, the gutter, the curbs, the sidewalks are all done before the houses even start. Occasionally, they're done wrong. It's just the way it is. They sometimes will get fixed, sometimes they won't. So there's a 1 foot allowance on these sides of the property. So they do an offset of 1 foot. I went back to my old ways of not saving things. From the frontage down, and from the left side further to the left. Just offset that green line 1 foot. Okay, and that's between your property and the sidewalk. Okay, so that's your buffer zone. So usually if you have an issue, the state will just say, we'll just use that 1 foot, and they just gift it. Okay, it's not worth money to sell a 1 foot property. You can buy 1 foot of Scotland right now, which is stupid. But then you can say that you're a lord of Scotland, because that's all that requires. So you can buy an acre on the moon. It's like 30 grand. I'm not sure who's selling it because no one can own the moon. It's in a treaty, but it's for sale. You can go online and buy it. I don't know if it'll hold up in any court. There you go. Remember, in order to colonize, you have to grow something there. That's how that works. Okay, so that 1 foot is the beginning of our sidewalk. Now, if you're in an older neighborhood, your sidewalks in front of your house are probably 3 feet wide. So downtown Old Magna, 3 foot wide. Old Avenues, 3 foot wide. If you're out in Harriman area or Draper, your sidewalks are about 4 feet wide, which is the current standard. On those narrow 3 footers, the biggest problem there is skateboarders and bicyclists. There's not room for both. So we've gone a little wider so people can travel on the sidewalks. So we're going to do this new version. We're going to offset now 4 feet. And that's the furthest out lines. So there's going down 4 and going out 4. So just blocking this all out. Yeah, always the furthest green line out from your property line. So now we're out here. This is my sidewalk. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is now we put in the planter strip. Now some cities flip these. Some cities will do the planter strip in and the sidewalk out. Utah has chosen to do the other way around for a couple of reasons. The planter strip can be done a couple ways. It can just be a flat lawn and a couple of trees put in there, or it can be bermed. You know what bermed means? You may not. It's not a word we use in English very often. Yeah, it's kind of like a hill. Comes up and over. Okay, it's usually this distance here is as much as 3 feet. It's usually 2 feet. Okay, now the reason for that is if old Happy Joe is coming down the road this way and he's had a little bit too much to drink and he veers off and he hits that berm, it's going to stop the car. Yeah, the front bumper's going to just plow into it and stop it. Yeah, that's the purpose of that. In Utah, we don't see a lot of these because dirt's pretty pricey. Right now, it's soil that grows things or live bacterial soil is pretty pricey. So we've chosen to go with trees. That's kind of tradition. I mean, we came here, there was 1 tree in this valley when they first settled here. That tree is still here, believe it or not. It's actually in Liberty Park. It's an old Russian olive tree. It's the only one that was in here. It's very old, very sad looking. But if you go to Liberty Park, you can find that tree. If it's made it through COVID. But last time I looked, it was there. So that 1 tree is here. Is it Liberty Park? Pioneer Park. Sorry, Pioneer Park. Pioneer. Yeah, Pioneer is our first park. So Pioneer Park was the first park in Utah. It's where the people who are immigrating into Utah would come, park their wagons, get a meal, and then get told they got to go another 2 days. Or we're sent to St. George or Moab or some of those. They're going, are you kidding me? And they just went. Yeah, Pioneers Park's where you found out that all your dreams did not come true yet. Okay, so we're going to do a 5-foot planting strip. Now, this does change from city to city. It can be anywhere from 5 to 20 feet. Now, you are responsible as a homeowner to maintain that planting strip. That means you water it, you mow it, you maintain it. If they go, the easiest thing that people started doing now is just putting gravel down, so they don't have to water it. That you'll see that quite often now, where people put gravel instead of the mowing and the watering. Watering is very expensive in Utah. We need a lot of water, and that's fine. There's no problem doing that. You just cannot do your entire yard in gravel. That's a no-no. You have to have something giving oxygen back. Why do we want green around our homes anyway? What does that do? It looks good. What's up?
It helps clean the air.
It helps clean the air a lot. Does a lot of that, but it also cools the air down. If you have a tree in your yard, the air around the tree is as much as 5 degrees cooler than the air not by a tree. So the way that trees breathe cools the air, and that's kind of a big deal to have that in your home. It also shades your home. So vegetation's a plus. We want that to happen. So we're going to do another offset. This time it's going to be 5 feet. And now you got to keep track of what all these lines are. This is a green space. This is a concrete space. And out beyond here is our curb and gutter. We'll put those on, hopefully, if we get some time. You guys actually have an extra day that B-Day doesn't have. So we may go a little bit longer since I did the site plan. Now, at this point, I'm ready to put in all of my, I'm going to put in concrete first. Because I want to get rid of some lines. I don't like seeing a lot of lines. It's busy, mainly because I started having to draw everything and then erase, and so I'm in that clean as you go type mode. So I'm going to put my sidewalk in next. It's going to be the exact same way we did your driveways and your walks that you have around your house. We go to architecture. It's going to be a floor. It needs to be on your finished grade, so make that change, and then bring it up 2 inches off the grade. So the concrete's 4 inches thick. We just want to raise it up just a little bit, okay? And I just use the line because I don't have walls to use here. I'm just going to trace it out. And I'm going to start, I guess, right here is a good place to start as any. So go from that end point to the intersection point. And again, why is my ortho stuck on? I don't get that. I'll have to do some aligning because I'm not sure what's going on with my system right now. And then back up to this point, cut across, and then just reverse your path. And again, it's not this to click on exactly what we want, just get kind of general. And we'll use the align tool to clean it up. This is what I'm going to do right now, because I want everything to line up just nice and pretty like. And this is why there's that 1 foot barrier. When they pour concrete down, they're not going to measure from a curb or gutter that doesn't exist. They're just going to put the sidewalk down. It may be in some parts 6 inches from your property line, and other parts 2 feet away from your property line. Because it's owned by the city, they don't really care. They just throw a thing in there. Well, the developer throws it in there. So I want to make sure everything lines up. Whoa, that is just trippy. Why is it doing it that way? Oh man, this is not working the way it's supposed to work. So frustrating. Is yours jumping around a lot with you? It won't line up. Let's see if we get over there. Just kind of fight. Wow, it's just you might have to. Oh man, that's just weird. See if I can just make a move. Something's changed on the settings, and I'm not sure what it is. So I'm gonna exaggerate a little bit. And I think I have an idea what might be happening, but I don't like what's happening. And then corner trim those together. So you might have to break the line a little bit. Oh man. Try this one again. So something's not quite right. I'm not sure what it is. I'll have to find out. Yeah, question? So I'm just breaking the line and trying to force it in. Wow, it's just not being very nice. Yeah, if you break the endpoints, they're not 90-degree locks. You should be able to adjust it. It's just a little inconvenient. Okay, so that's my sidewalk. Once you get that in, go ahead and check it off. And it's probably to say, in my case, it's, do you want to attach to bottom floors? No, I don't want to put it to the floors. I don't want it floating. Don't move up to the floor. And usually I get a message right here that says, hey, you've got parts overlapping. So I'm getting weird, not getting what I'm expecting out of it today, but what's life got to do with it? Okay, now the rest of this is all planting. And I do want to corner off out here on my green lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out, well, I'm just going to leave them. When I go to modify, I'm going to do a corner on the outer two areas because I need to know where that intersection is. I need this intersection point right here. Okay. So I'm just doing that so I have a reference point. Again, the green lines are going to be bane on me, but I've got to have it placed. And I'm hoping this will go easier. Yesterday I did this in 4 pieces, and I think that made it more work than we wanted to deal with. And I wish she wouldn't go to break every time in the middle of stuff. Okay, how are we doing? We good? Life's good? Okay. Let's go into the Mass and Site tab again. I'm going to do Topo Surface. Now, this Topo Surface, as you get into it, it shows contour lines on your preview. I'm going to try and put a lesson together on how in Architecture 3 you can pull topography lines from Google Earth and make your ground match. It's rather complicated process, and so trying to fit it into a single class is where my struggle is on that. But you can do things like that with your software, get actual terrain and make your property match what's there, which is kind of fun. But like I said, it is very, it's tedious. It's a lot of tedious things to do. So I'm working on a lesson for that. We'll just click on that, and we're going to use the place point method. And what that means is you need the 4 outer corners of where grass is going to be. So that's why I wanted this corner right here, so I knew where that was at. I want the end over here, back to the property line, and then back out to where my plant strip is. So I just want to go the farthest reaches of where grass could be. And just so you know, this is on your floor line level. That's where it always goes. It just does. If you go into the chat rooms for Revit, they've been asking for this to be assigned a layer for the last 10 years, and they still haven't made that fix. So, okay, we got those 4 points picked.
Where did you get that? Just like that?
So I took this line here. This is my 5-foot plant strip right here. So I just extended them out. So I corner trimmed them, so I knew where that corner was. You can eyeball it if you want for what we're doing today. You can kind of eyeball there. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be exact because it's city work. It's the city's property. We're just trying to make our place look pretty.
Topo Surface?
Topo Surface. So it's Topo Surface, place points. Oh, I forgot to drink my tea this morning. I bet that's cold as cold. Oh well. Call it iced tea in a minute. Okay, we good? All right, next step is while we're here, we can put the grass in now. I'm going to tell you right now what's. Yeah, we did. It should already be. Well, you got to look at what it says in your material. Does it say category? Does it say grass? Then we got the grass in. Okay, so when you guys are gone over break, they did something in here. Yesterday, not one person had any of their grass. That makes me worry that their carpet's missing too. if you aren't saving in your drive, if you're saving on the download folder or somewhere like that, most likely your stuff's not there. Oh, yeah, there should be a headache for 14 of you. But when you click on the category here, you can't change it while you place it. You have to lock it in first. And then you got, well, crap, it all disappeared. Well, yeah, it does. So go into your 3D view. And it's going to be dirt. Yeah.
So on my 3D view, like, because we did it just like really rough, like really big, I still have the grass.
You still have yours, then you're fine. Just yesterday, most of the kids had lost theirs.
Okay, could I just like delete the one that I did?
Yeah. Yep. Okay, and then use my modify and then select my big piece of dirt here. And now I can change it to grass. And I'm going to go through that process in case you're missing it. So when I go into my materials and I type word grass, and nothing comes up, which I'm hoping nothing comes up. That's probably going to come up now. Yay, nothing comes up. So life's good. If nothing comes up, that means I've got to create grass. So I go down to the gray, create materials, and then make a new one. I'm going to right click and rename it to grass. And now I need to change the appearance. Well, the appearance, and I just had I got to put a material in there. Well, I don't remember what materials are. I'm going to be student mode. So if you don't remember, you can put in sky view, grass, go to images, and you're looking for grass where you're looking down on the grass. And none of these are really matching what I told to look for. Love you, Google. You're my best friend. Let's do grass. Might be just as easy. And then I got to find a picture that's going to be representative of my grass. And that's kind of trippy. And that one looks pretty good there. There's a texture for grass. I'm fine with that. Again, be careful. Adobe Flash is officially dead. That means a lot of the stuff online now is a JFIF file. So it's compatible with old versions. That will not work. It has to be a JPG file. So when I right click and save image as, it needs to say JPEG here, okay? It needs to not say .jfif here. Those are copyrighted images. You can't do a thing with them, okay? And I'm just going to throw this somewhere where I can find it because I'm missing 4 of my menus. So to save that, come back here, click on the no image, go back to where I saved it, click on my grass, there's my picture, I apply it, hit OK. Okay, so that should make it green. It's still not where I want it. If you notice, none of my driveway shows, none of my sidewalks are showing, it's all kind of hidden. I need to move this. I need to move it to the finished grade. Okay, I cannot do that in 3D. I cannot do that in a top-down view. You're going to have to go to an elevation. I usually just go to the south elevation because it's the front elevation. South. And the nice thing about this is it shows the texture of the dirt. So find a place you can see where your finished grade is. You can see the texture. You're going to select that big old blue dirt mall. Can't believe you dissed Wonder Woman. So click move. And we're going to take and pick a point up near the top of the topo and drag that down to the finished grade. So you got to know where things are at when you do that. Okay. Now leave it selected. Don't unselect yet. You're going to flip back over to 3D and make sure you can see your driveway. Make sure you can see your sidewalk. If those are showing now, then you can go back to the modify and check that off. Okay, but make sure you check it first. It's a lot easier to modify while you have it selected. You're not wasting time. Okay? And yes, I do see all my lines here. That's fine. Okay. All right, now the next, yes,
Mike, right, it's just gray.
just gray.
Yeah,
Did you change the picture?
yeah.
Are you, what mode are you in this little cube right here? Are you in shaded?
Yeah.
Shaded's gray. So if you switch it to like consistent colors or into even realistic, you should get the green. Don't go to photo ray or ray trace. Don't do the ray trace because that's too much. Just do like realistic. Did that change it?
It's loading.
Slow, yeah. Yeah, if we get in there, it's gonna take some memory. Okay. It's gonna take some memory. Yes.
I have my drafting, but it doesn't show dirt on my elevation.
You probably have your building pad already in there. It's modified it, so you're fine. If it doesn't show, as long as you can get that moved down, you're okay. Yeah, mine's gonna disappear here in about 2 seconds too, as I get going. All right, I need to go back into my site plan now, and as I was just saying, we need to put the building pad back on this. Otherwise, you have dirt in your basements. So that is the building pad right here. So I'm just going to click on that. And this one, you do have a wall select tool, and you want to go around all the walls of your building. And I would tell you to include a porch, not your decks and not your patios, but if you have a porch that you're putting things under, include that. So that's what I'm going to do on this one. So when I pick my walls, I'm just going to go around here and make sure the pink line is on the outside of those walls. As you move around, this comes down, cuts over, and do a little jog action here. This is a little weird. I still have to go this way, but I want to go this way. So now I have to fix that. That's going to come up here, so I'm jump here. This is where my fix is. And I go to my corner tool, connect here over this porch, and connect this porch so there's no dirt underneath it. So just kind of think about where you want those lines to go.
You can fix that later.
You can come in and building pads are a little harder to edit after they're built because they don't have anything to touch. They're just they're an invisible barrier.
So I haven't created anything like that.
You haven't? Okay, that's what you want to do now. Otherwise, you'd have dirt all through your house. Now, if I look here on my left, this is on my first floor. I'm going to drop that down actually to probably my foundation. So I just pull that down so it's not sticking up above the dirt. You could take it to finished grade even for that matter, and it'll still work. But pull it off of that first floor to one of the lower levels. Don't go down to your bottom of your footing because then it's not going to do any good. Okay. At that point, you can check that off. And if I go my 3D, everything's still now in good order. If I tilt my house, I can see things better. So just that quick fix, okay? All right, now I'm ready to plant some trees. Woohoo. The template I gave you has trees that are used often here in Utah. Doesn't mean you can't put something else in there for the looks. For those of you who are going to go to the University of Utah, how many of us that for your school? When you put trees onto your models or into your drawings, do not use green leaves. Use purple, use red, use gold. But you want, what we're doing right now is setting up a rendering. And yes, the trees look good and everything, but the point you want to have in the back of your head all the time is we want the attention to be on the building, not the vegetation. So if you go to Bob Ross, then the building gets lost, okay? So when we put in this planting strip, typically you would put trees in that are full grown, not in front of the house, where they use short trees, trees that are young. Now, when you build a house and you put trees in, they are required to be 2-inch diameter caliper trees. What that means is the trunk has to be at least 2 inches in size. Otherwise, they tend to die. We still get a lot of death out of them. Those trees are warranted for 1 year. You can get them replaced if you call the contractor. Most homeowners forget that and just let them die. Those trees are what's saving your house from drunk drivers. Okay, you need those trees. Because what happens is guys coming down the street, he's gonna hit that tree before he hits your house. It's gonna stop him. And even though a 2-inch tree isn't very much, if he drives over that tree, there's a good chance that that trunk that's left will puncture the radiator or getting stuck in the gear systems or the drive shift and stop the car. Okay, having driven over many offenses growing up, it happens. You can get stopped by little things. So you want those trees. And so as a homeowner, if it dies in the first year, get it replaced. Then you don't have to buy it because trees are pretty pricey. So let's start placing trees. Trees are also in the Masson site. They're under site components. So you click on that, you can go into your library. And the tree that I use the most for this is this gray birch. It's a 10-foot tree. It's about the size of the ceiling in this room. I put those in my planting strip. They do grow to 30 feet tall, but this is a shorter tree that I placed there. And it's gonna go in this planting strip, and you wanna put them about 10 feet apart, maybe 12. So there's a range. Your plant strip trees are between 5 and 15 feet apart, depending on the city you're in. So I just try and make it look good, and then the city requirements will be kicked in. Don't put one in front of your driveway. That's kind of defeating the purpose. You become a meme. You don't want to do that. I want to place them so they make sense with the house. I want to still keep a view to what I'm seeing. And I'm not measuring these. I'm just eyeballing them around here. As I get to the corner, I'm just going to leave this open. You can't put anything within 6 feet of a corner of an intersection. You have to be able to see people coming. So I just jump over to the next side, and I'll just continue to put trees in, make it nice and pretty like. Okay. Now I just messed up. Oh, so much. I put these on the first floor. Yay, teacher. But while I'm here, I can window those trees and move them to the finished grade. And I have to remember to do this. I do it all the time. I can't believe I can't remember that. They need to be on the finished grade, otherwise you've got floating trees, which is cool, but kind of not practical. Okay, now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some bushes in here. So I'm gonna do topo site. And you may, let's see, do I have bushes? No, I don't see any bushes. So in order to get to the bushes, you have to do edit type, load. These are in planting. They used to be under site amenities. Now they got their own folder. So under planting, there's not very many here. There's more trees in your template than there are in the library. Okay, mainly because I like to decorate. But right now I just want a little shrub. This little guy right here. Just a little guy. So then open that one up. And I'm going to place some shrubs by my house. Now, you guys haven't had landscaping classes. They are available in your high schools. When you plant on the site, you want to do groupings of 3 or 5. Never put plants in pairs or even numbers. Nothing in nature is done in even numbers. Everything in nature's technically is Avogadro's number, which is prime numbers for the most part. So you want to do groupings of like clusters of 3. I usually go 3 because 7's too many. And just kind of dress it up just a little bit. You know, there's the whole grandma's thing with line the curb with all the marigolds. I don't do that. And you might want to put a little clump out here to, these are just bushes. They're not going to be too distracting. And then if you want to go into a bigger tree, by all means, you can, but keep in mind we want to see the front of the house. So if I go in and get, oh, maybe, yes,
Which file were the
planting, yeah. Yeah.
So you put them on the first floor.
I did again, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, they go on the finished grade. I see I do this, and I have to spend hours picking little trees, and it's a pain in the neck. Make sure you're on your finished grade. Oh, it's such a, yeah. So if you have to pick these one at a time, it's just not fun. You can do the control key. It's better if you can window them, but I got little walls here now, and I don't want my walls to move. So fun when I do that. Thanks, Grant. Okay, and this is going to do the last trees I'm going to do because I want to pick up some speed here. When I go into what's in your template, on all your trees, they have their height. So there's some hibiscus, there's some lilacs, there's mostly trees that we see here in Utah. If you want a tall, big old tree, I think the biggest tree I gave you was beech trees, I think is the tallest. Oh, there's a honey locust. Okay, what do you guys know about honey locusts? These are considered garbage trees, but they're all over Utah. Okay, there's the trees. These things grow super fast, but they die very short lives. They usually only live to be about 30 years old, and then they start falling down. Part of that is because they're called honey locusts because their sap is really sweet, and ants kind of haul them out pretty quick. But they grow very fast. They make great treehouse trees.
Are they kind of like the mimosa trees?
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
have
but-
one in our backyard.
yeah, almost everybody does because
All over.
they just grow like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're everywhere. So that's your biggest one. There's a large aspen tree there that you can put in. So just look at the heights. Poplars are there. Those are huge trees. But I would just have put one. I'll put a couple back here. Notice the diameter of the symbol represents a little bit about the height of the tree. And so you can get an idea of how big the tree is. And that's all I'm going to do on this. Okay. I don't want to do any more. You could if you want to, but keep it simple. What we're going to do now is start rendering. I want to get to that point really, really quickly because we're running out of time today. Mainly because I want to give you at least one full day of just working to get things where you want them finalized. I'm trying to keep it balanced a little bit with B-Day, which has been really hard to do this year. Okay, so give you just a minute more on your tree placements. You can go in and add cars and stuff. I never show cars or people in my renderings. One, it gets dated really quick because it's usually the current car of the year. And so I can't use that rendering for in the future. It's a little harder to keep it current. And they take a ton of memory. So I've got quite a few trees in here now. My memory has gone up 30% in just placing the trees I put. And I did it again. Dang it, Grant. Oh my gosh. Someone shoot me today because I am stupid. This is usually, I did that once. I had all my trees on the second floor one year. Went into a presentation and we're looking at the first floor and the guy goes, I thought I wanted maple trees. I'm going, there's maple trees there, but I don't know where they are. And then we went to the second floor and here's all these trees floating. It looks like some out of Minecraft or something. So that's, okay. You ready for the fun part? This is the best part of the whole freaking program. Okay. Here we go. Let's go into view. And underneath the 3-view doghouse, there is a camera. And when I take this camera and when I place it, I always put my rendering on the sidewalk. And I try and get a little off center of where the front door is. And then I shoot my camera angle. So when you pull it, after you place the camera, you can change the angle and how wide the telescopic lens is. Okay. So I want to kind of get a good shot there. And that's my range. And that's going to take me into the view. Now, if you look at your 3D views area, there's a new view created when you do this. I mean, it's going to save this, kind of like a snapshot. And there's my house, but I don't see everything. So I change the crop windows and I adjust the picture to include what I want to see there. And notice my roof is showing even though it's hidden on my site plan right now. Okay, it's under view. It's inside the 3D doghouse, and there's a camera there. And where you place it. Now, once I get this set up here, I'm going to bring that element so I get the garage in. Maybe pull it down a little bit more. See the sidewalk? A little bit wider. A little bit wider still. And I see a little bit of a tree back here on this side. There's a tree from the road, but this is kind of what I want to see. This is what the client needs. Now, as I look at this view is pretty good. It's almost like an elevation, but it's a little more detailed. I can go in here and I can also see that I forgot to fix a few things. Just ignore that. Actually, I forgot a lot of things. That's okay. I now need to take this to the next level. Okay. Now, to do one of these on your computer is going to take you about 20 minutes. Okay, this is where we need the Autodesk user count. So we're going to take a pause here, and up at the top of your screen, there's a sign in area. I got to get around my Zoom thing. Right here, if it doesn't say your name, then you need to click on that and either log in with the one you created at home or create an account. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to do that because that's where we're at. So we need to have an Autodesk account. Yes, sir. Okay, so when you go into the view, click on the area and change the window. Yeah, you can hide that. When you click on the window here, you can expand what you see. So if you don't like where your camera's at, go back to your site plan. You got a new password. But you can place another camera here to make. Okay. So if you don't like your camera shot, do another one. Just create a different view. It takes a while to get familiar with where you want to put the cameras.
Should we use the protection thing
The what?
to protect your account?
That's a choice you can make. Make sure you're using your school account though.
Yeah.
Otherwise you won't stay. Yeah, do sign in because you're gonna need for because of the time. So the cloud will render things much faster than the computers will, which makes it a little nicer. Like I say, you can do a simple rendering here, and that's what I'm going to start with first. And then I'll show you a lot more elaborate one. And you can still go in, right now this is on the black and white mode. I can still take it into a realistic color and get a little more look to it. And this is my one downside, and I'm going to hide a few things like this framing. I'm going to take that out, that whole category. So you can clean up your drawing. It's kind of like Photoshop on your wedding day. And notice I didn't bring it out all the way to the street. I've cut it off at the sidewalk. Even though those trees are there, I'm not seeing the whole thing. Okay, keep it simple.
Sorry, it's not letting me sign in.
Did you create an account?
Yeah.
Do you remember your?
I go to hit sign in.
Well,
Oh, I did not.
let you walk out of this here. Is anyone else able to log in? We were able to yesterday, just fine. This is real slow. Well, we can do the one here. Oh, it's because you're not sending to Chrome, so it's trying to figure out who you are. Because you're sending underneath the district's license. So, just close that. It might take be a little harder to do. Look at this. Okay, just cancel that. Something's wrong with you. If you can't log in, because just in one picture. You go into the elevations. Well, your sidewalk is on the first floor. And that needs to be on the first grade. And then 2 inches. And then this is your topography. That needs to be moved. That needs to be okay, so who else is not able to log into Autodesk? Everybody else is able to, but just you. Right, it's trying to now. Yeah, it might be a little slow. I'm not sure. The network has not been very good since we got back. I know the computer programming classes were not in good shape yesterday. So let me just show you what we're doing here. Okay, so this is in realistic mode. It's fine. I did do something silly and paint one fascia on my house green. I'm regretting that choice a lot right now. Now, inside of your view tab, you have right next to the 3D doghouse view, you have a gallery, you have render in the cloud, and you have render. I'm going to start with render. Okay. Render in the cloud requires that you're logged into Autodesk. You guys only have like 4 credits for rendering right now. The more you use Revit, the more credits you're going to get. That's kind of how that works. You can buy credits, but that's silly. And you do get more credits each, I think it's each week as you work. Okay, I'll have to look into that more for you. Yes. No, you need to do this part so you have it. I'm going to give you a Thursday and Monday for the rest. Yeah, if you can render the cloud, that'll be much quicker. So what I'm going to do first is we need to set everything up. Okay, so I'm going to do a manual render and show you how to do that in case you are not able to connect. Okay, and really for one shot, it's going to take maybe 10 minutes. But when you start doing lots of these, it gets slower and slower as you go. So when you go into the render option, that's the teapot. That teapot has been around a very long time. It brings up this little window right here. And so one of the options there is to render. That is your final button. We don't want to push that yet. The default is the draft. That's basically what I have on the screen right now. That realistic view, that's a draft. So I'm going to change that to, I'm just going to go high. Best will take about an hour. I don't want to do that right now. Actually, well, it probably will because the network's slow. Usually it takes 20 minutes, but it's gone kind of weird today. You can render it to the screen or right to a printer. I have never rendered straight to a printer. One, I won't know what I'm going to get until it's done printing, and that's a lot of money. Ink is expensive. So I always look at the screen first. There's a pixel width area here. Notice the printer is set to 96 dpi. You need to make sure you're at least 600 dpi. That's a minimum, okay? If you're gonna do print quality. So now I come down here and I'm gonna look at my lighting area. Since this is on the outside, I'm gonna do sunlight only. If you want to do a night scene, you can turn the lights on in the house and show it at night, okay? It's just an option you have. But you got sun only, sun and artificial. Artificial is the lights in your rooms. Artificial only, sun only. And these are interiors and exteriors. So just so you know that. There's a sun setting option. So if I click on the little ellipse dots, this used to be a lot more robust. It's kind of a little weaker now than it used to be. So there's a couple things that you need to look at. You can run solar studies, which means if I do a single day, go ahead and click on single day so you can see this. You can choose your location. It goes with usually capital cities. So I can go in here and I can go, well, let's see, I want, and you can put in your street. Let's do Salt Lake. Let's see if I find Salt Lake. And that was probably a mistake because it's going really, really slow. I'm just gonna switch to there's a default city list. You can just go through and find cities. So you like Cedar City is in there. Why is Cedar City in there? Because SUU paid to be on the list. Okay. You go Ogden's in there, Weaver State paid to be on the list. So you can find quite a few cities in here. Salt Lake is in the NS. There's Salt Lake City. Once you do that to give you longitude and latitude, I would recommend that if you're doing a lot of this type of stuff, write that number down because it does, it's easier to type that in to do the search stuff. You can put in daylight savings on there. You can choose your weather. So you can look at weather tables, you can choose the site and all that to set it up, okay? Now I'm not gonna run through this because this would take an entire day to generate. It makes an image every 10 minutes for a 24-hour period. And then you can see what the sun does with shadows on your house. Hugely nice design tool, especially if you're doing passive solar design where you're trying to shade the house or get enough sunlight for your solar cells. Okay? Same thing's available in the multi-day. I just need a single steel. Notice once you set that though, it holds your location. So I went to single day, picked Salt Lake City, went back to steel. I have my date and you can change the time. Why do I need to know the time? That's where the sun is. And the date says how high up it is. Like right now, it's way down. It's like straight across my eyes right now, this time of year, way low in the south. So my lighting's gonna be different, okay? I can switch it to be summer solstice instead, which is the sun's highest, or we can go back to winter solstice or spring equinox or whichever one you want to go there. You can just choose those light conditions, but you do have to start with the single day first and then switch back. Okay, right now my ground is the first floor. It's not the first floor. My ground is my finished grade. So you got to kind of watch that. It throws your shadows off a little bit. That looks weird. So I apply that setting and hit OK. So now I have my spring equinox. I can choose how many clouds are in my sky. So you can have no clouds, very few clouds, few clouds, cloudy, very cloudy, or you can do something else, Star Trek, and do purple sky. Again, if you're at the U, change your sky color to something not realistic. Draw attention to the building. What's that? Yeah, pretty much. You could go with colors like purple or gray or orange. Those tend to work better because they're in the neutral spectrum. But yeah, you can do red up there, but then you're like everybody else, so you don't stand out. Okay, so I usually go with, let's go cloudy day. And then you can adjust this. Now, if you do exposure, this is all trial and error, guys. This is why I always have a notebook right beside my desk, so I can write down what I like when I change these exposures, because it's all trial and error. Every one of these settings is trial and error. And I'm going to kind of make my shadows a little darker on this. About right there. Just so I have a little reference, but keep a notebook. So when you start doing these, things come out the way you want it to be. Apply that. Hit OK. Once I get that all set, then I can just render it. And we'll get a bar coming up somewhere on my screen in just a moment. Looking for the bar, I got down here the setup. And this needs to go on one of the sheets you print out for your final. So probably you can put this on the site plan sheet. You got room there. Just put it on your site plan. So here's the rendering starting. This one goes relatively quickly. Very cloudy day. Horizon's gonna be a little weird in the background. Usually I just Photoshop that into something else because I don't want to do a whole city. That's too much. So this is going to render out. It gets better the longer it goes. The green fascia, it's a fluorescent green I put on there. I don't know why I did that. So what happens when people ask questions and I show them on Zoom and I forget I showed them. So that's okay. Notice I darkened my shadows so the windows are almost blacked out. Usually you block out the windows on a rendering, mainly because you don't want to show all the detail inside. It's a lot of work. So if you look at an architectural rendering, like any of these are up on the walls in the back, the windows are usually black. It just kind of brings depth to the building. So that's why I darken the shadows. You don't have to now with computers. It's changing a little bit, but you do want to make sure if you do have windows in the front that you're rendering, that the inside of those rooms is done, that you've got the paint color you want, and it's where you want it. A lot of times you get left with just that gray chipboard color, and everybody recognizes that color now. Okay, that's all done. So before you leave one of these and you want to use it, make sure you come down here and save to your project. Otherwise, this is gone. This is just a preview. So you click Save to Project, give it a name so you recognize what it is, and then you hit OK. Okay, now I'm just going to close this. That file I just made is underneath my section views in the renderings. There it is right there. So it's now part of my file. So when I go down to my sheets and I go down to my site plan sheet, which is where you put this site plan, it's all the way down. Oh man, I missed it. Site plan, right here's my site plan. I drag the site plan on here. Remember, I'm in tenths of a foot. So your site plan needs to be like 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. So let's pull that one in next, just so you can see how to do that. And it's on the video, so you can review and say, look what I can do, Mom. So you drag the site plan in. And I look at the scale, this is 1 to 20, and then change that to 1 to 10, which is bigger. Apply. Position this. And again, like all the other things we've done, you go inside. I've hidden the roof and then bring the roof back. So teacher. So I'm going to unhide those elements. Hide. I missed a roof. How freaking nice is that? So I bring the roof back on, makes it a little cleaner. I can go in and hide this element here. So you can go in and hide those types of things, clean it up. This I need to go delete, but I'll do that in a minute. And then you double click to get that back in. So you can position this, well, down here, or if you bring this down, And again, I've got an extra site plan in there. To bring your rendering in is the same process. Just drag the rendering in and place it on that sheet, and it'll fit. It fits just fine. Okay, you can get all in there. Okay, then that's on your site plan sheet. Okay, now we're really I'm gonna try and give you at least 35 minutes, if not more. I do want to show you one more thing that you should do before you leave here, which can show your parents of what you've done. Okay, so for this, I'm gonna go into the first floor. So here's my first floor. Yep, there's all my site stuff there. Again, hide it in the view, mark your views. I'm still gonna put a camera in there, and this is where the where it's gonna be really important you have your Autodesk account. And then go on my camera, and I'm gonna take the camera and put it inside the house. Well, my best part of my house is probably the kitchen, and you can do multiples of these, okay? But to show one, I'm gonna click right there. I'm just gonna aim it at the kitchen. I'm gonna come into this view, and I'm gonna adjust that view. So just like I did before, I'm gonna leave this in blue. Don't unclick, okay? So change my view, and I go back to the first floor. You can move the camera, change the angle, okay? But now I'm gonna go into my view tab, and this is the fun part of this, okay? I'm gonna go render in the cloud. Now notice my render option's not available here in the plan view. But if I do render in the cloud, it's gonna give you some steps, okay? And I think I've run out of credits because I've been doing this a couple days now. But first, we'll just start the 3D view rendering and the steps through it and what's gonna happen there. So I'm gonna go continue. It brings up an option board for me, okay? I wanna take a little bit of time and explain what's happening here. One, the view is gonna be a 3D view. Now that's what I'm gonna use for this. So you can choose one of the views you've made before and re-render it. So if you got a little snapshot you like and you want to render it better, send it to the cloud, okay? The output type, it can be a still image, that's cool. We just did one of those. Or you can do a panorama, or a stereo panorama, or an illuminance. And that's really tricky. If you do a stereo panorama, you get some other options. You can change it from standard to final and the exposure to advanced. And you want to try these. Notice it's going to take 3 credits, okay? I'm going to try and go ahead and do this one. Might as well. What's credits for, right? So if I render that out, it's going to start creating that scene. It's going to take it a while to do that. It'll shut down and say, keep working, keep working. So, okay, I'll keep working. For the interest of time, I did one. So I'm going to go to my gallery. Your gallery links to your online account, which is kind of nice. This is what you can access, your parents can see, and you can actually share it. It's going to take a minute to load because we are really hurting on Wi-Fi today. Just crashed. Okay, so yeah, this is this is what I did yesterday. Same area of the house, same type of camera. So I can view this. I'm gonna go here. So this is what that stereo panorama does. This is the inside of the house that we've been doing. It finishes it out. There's the fridge. There's the everything that we put into. You can turn it up. You can go down. Yes, there is. So if you look across the top here, right here, for example, you can stereo panorama. You can download these into your device. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that one on this one right now because it's done. So you download it. So you can download, but yeah, you can do it for VR gear. So it shows on your phone. You got VR goggles. You can actually put this into Quest There's you have to go through a third-party app to do that. So you can put it into Oculus and do that. So, but yeah, you can pull these down, share with your parents, put it on your phone. If it's on your phone or your tablet, you can kind of move it around and walk through the space a little bit. So it's kind of, but this is how advanced the software is. None of these paint colors, this is just the standard paint color. I didn't even have paint on these walls. My carpet I did, but you can set these up and show your parents your space and what you do. Okay, so that's kind of fun, and kind of play with it. You know, you can change it. You can re-render it out to single, or to the panorama, or to the solar steady. So you can change it all here and do lots of different views. If you don't like, you can throw it away. So there's a lot you can do with these. Okay. All right. So the one you required or need to do for sure is the one that's in your site plan. One rendering needs to be on there. Okay. The last thing I need to have you do is what you then turn in to me. Okay. Now, I'm gonna clean something up here because it's bugging me. This guy. Okay. What you're gonna do is when you come in on Monday, and if you're ready to print on Thursday, then by all means do, because all of you printing on one day will be a little tricky. Okay. So I'm gonna go through the print process. So when you're ready, you can do that. Don't do it today because I haven't put paper in yet. Okay. We're gonna go through about 4 rolls of paper. That is 20. That's 2,000 feet of paper. Yay, right? Okay, so when we go to File and Print, it's just like printing everywhere else. You will pick a printer. Now, on your computers, if you guys would just check and make sure you have access to these, that would make my life really, really good. You should have, one of them is a GSP printer that is an HP 5550. That's this machine here. Do you guys have that one? You're still rebooting? Yeah. So file print. Okay, when you file print, then you're gonna look at the name of the printer, hit the little down arrow, and I just want to see what you got in there. Do you have an HPD J510? Okay, those are in the other room. They're those big wide format plotters. So that's one you can use. Do you have the 2600? Yeah. Okay, that's it. So there's 2 of them in there you guys have access to. So that should get through a little quicker. It does take some time to print those. So you would select the printer you're going to use. They are design jets. They print relatively quickly. It's going to take about 3 minutes a page. They will be 36 inches wide, 24 inches tall. Okay. I've got rubber bands and we got staples, but if you come to school, it looks like it's stormy, you might want to wait to cover it because the ink will bleed on those if it gets wet. It's not water safety, so you kind of know that. Then the next step you have to do is down here is your print range. Now, I'm gonna go through this and then go back, and what this is for you. The printers in there are for your take home. So you have these, okay? Then you come down here where it says select views or sheets, press the select button, and it's then bring up every view, every rendering, everything you've got. So I usually turn the views off and just go with the sheets, okay? Now the sheets that you will have will be this. You will all have the first floor. You will all have a first floor reflective ceiling. That's the electrical that we did. You will all do a roof plan, elevation. You may have 1 or 2 sheets of elevations depending on how you set it up. So if you did the front elevation 1/4 inch and the others 1/8 inch, you might have 1 sheet. But if you did them all 1/4, you'll have 2 sheets. Your building section, again, 1 or 2, depending on how you set it up. Your wall section could be on the building section. So again, you might not do all the sheets. So you need a building section, wall section. You need your site plan. And then some of you will have a second floor and some of you will have a basement. Okay, where's my foundation go? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you should all have the base of the foundation layout. So that should be your foundation plan is. I forgot I changed that. So those are the sheets you'll have. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 sheets. You could leave off the roof plan if you want, because that will be on your site plan as well, the roof view. So you could choose to not do the roof plan and just put that on the site plan. That's acceptable. But those are the sheets that I'm grading for the class. And then all you do then would be hit OK. And it's a say, do you want to save these? Well, you're going to use the same sheets twice. If you hit yes, it's to have you give it a name. And you can say for B day or A day or whatever day it is today. And then that selection set is saved. So anytime you need to print them, they're already done. Okay. Then they cancel out of that. You're going to do the same thing. Once you got that done, save the name. For me, what you're going to submit to Canvas is in the printer, you're going to change that to Adobe PDF. Okay. Each sheet will still be 36 inches wide, 24 inches tall. When you print that, it'll save them all in one file. And that's what you're going to upload to Canvas. Okay? And then I can go through and grade them from that. Okay. So you hard copy for you, PDF for me. Yes. Oh, are you serious? Are all of them done? Oh. Okay, well, that's going to be a downright downer. You have Microsoft Print to PDF, use that one. Okay, use that one. That does the same thing. Whew, that was scary for a minute there. I'm going, well, there's no way they'll get that fixed before the end of the year. Yeah, use the Microsoft Print to PDF. That'll do the same thing. Okay, the next 30 minutes or so are yours to clean up your drawings, finish what you need to do. Again, if you're missing assignments, you want me to reopen them, send them to my email. It's in the announcement. Don't email me through Canvas. I won't get it till tomorrow. It takes 12 hours for Canvas to kick out their emails. It drives me nuts. It's really slow. So if you send it directly to the email, give me the class it's in, it's ARC 1 or ARC 2, and what the assignment is. And I'll reopen them for you until Thursday at noon.
So before we break, I was upstairs, I commented on the script cross-section.
Yes. So I need to go back and fix that. I didn't do anything over Christmas. I took a much needed break. In fact, I ignored you guys. So sorry, Mr. Brown. But, so I did. So yeah, I'll go fix that right now while I'm thinking about it. But whoa, where am I going here? Oh, I fell out of my house. Oh, I don't remember I rendered the wrong thing. Welcome to my world. Well, I'm sure glad I did the outside of the house. And I put my camera way up in the sky. And oh man, I'm gonna get sick. So I don't look at that anymore. We'll go back to the cool one. So, but yeah, you can get lost in space apparently. But notice there's grass outside my windows.
You want to see the rendering of the house in front of the house.
Yeah, just the front of the house. That's usually the only thing that you would render on a normal house. When you get into custom stuff like the 3,000 plus square feet, then you do a little bit more because you can charge those people because they pay for anything. And that's kind of fun.
How do you take the site plan, image onto the site plan?
Drag the file over onto the sheet. We go back. So let me close out here. Cancel that. So if I'm on my site plan, I go and I find the site plan up here in the files, select it, and drag it and drop it. Just drag and drop. Makes it easy. What's that? Okay, so you have to, on the picture, okay, if the picture comes in small, when you click on the picture, double click, and you get in there. You should have these little dots here. Boy, I can't change it here in the sheet. Forgot that, sorry. Go back to where the image is stored. Go into that picture here. Oh man, I'm jumping around here. Gotta find my view. It's right here. So when you're in the view here, where it was created, there's a size and crop, okay? And when you click on that, you set it by the inches you want it to be. So your page is 36 inches wide, 24 tall. So you could do 17 wide and 11 tall, or 11 wide and 8.5 tall, okay? So you just have to set it there. You might have to re-render it out to get that new size, but you have to set it here in the region area. Okay, so your site plan is small? Oh, you guys got lots of things. Site plan. If your site plan's here, remember I did that in class, it was a 1:20, change the view scale. So 1:20 is the default, you can go 1:10. The next bigger up from that would be a 16th of an inch equals a foot, will be your next size up. Then that's the largest you ever do any site plan. They're never more than a 16th, but 1:10 is standard. 1 inch equals 10 feet. There, all you're doing is showing where the building is on the land. Good questions. I got to find my course. Oh, stairs assignment. Caleb. The other one was the site plan, and that's not due till the 8th. So that's the only thing that's open right now is a site plan and the final construction set. Everything else shut down on the Christmas break. So I'm just trying to jump in there real quick here. Let's see. Caleb, what assignment was that? Is that an architecture 1? Is that what it's like? And again, take this opportunity. If you're missing things, this is your chance to fix some things. Might be a little homework now, but it's better than not having any points at all. And you only have until noon. On the reason it's noon is I have to have grades at Weber State by 5 o'clock. And so it's gonna be because Weber State semester ended 2 weeks ago. So we are trying to, and it's always that case for concurrent enrollment, but I have to get that finalized before the next semester opens up. And for those who are with me next semester, you want me to do that. So it's a little bit of a race. And thank goodness we get to work down Friday. So. Yes, sir. When you go in, there's a little down at the bottom of the screen, there's a little light bulb. And you click on that, and it shows a red box around it, and you can select that. Got it. Pressing. Can you let him in? Hey, how we doing?
I was working on the printers over there, and I left my camp there. walking out, can I go to the toilet?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're just in that room there. Yeah. I should know you, but I don't. But that's okay. Security on. Yes, you can either hide them or delete them. And then we have you guys come back. That was a good box. I'm glad you stopped by. Yeah, you know. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's cool. So you want to be like this. Oh, so that's that. All righty. Okay, let me pause this real quick here.